lesson covered for long test one. Am I correct? If you may have checked your timetable, we will only be covering home is where that's the literary selection. Second, active and passive voice, and then lastly, the lesson that we will have now. So, are you ready to have our lesson now? Kindly click the raise hand button. Wait lang. Wala nag-ulan sa inyong area, Nor? Is it not raining there?
Ako Manila.
Obviously. Ay, wow. Sana all. That's why. Okay, constantly nag-rain ng, I mean, consecutively, it's raining here in our place. Okay. Sige, if you are ready, kindly click the raise hand button. So, let me check who is not ready. I think only one is not ready. Von Vista, are you ready, Von? Okay, there. So since everyone is ready to listen and participate for our new lesson, I will be sharing to you our objectives or my expectations at the end of the session. First, you should be able to identify direct and indirect speech and the difference of the two. Third, change direct speech to indirect speech and vice versa. And then lastly, answer a short quiz. So right after the discussion, prepare yourselves. You will be answering a short quiz. So make sure that you will really listen, okay? So yes, without wasting more time, let's start now with our lesson by defining the two. Let's begin with the first one. The first speech is direct speech. By definition, direct speech is the actual or the original words stated by the author or the writer. So it is the actual speech quoted, also called direct quotation. So what is the most notable identification for direct speech? It is the use of what uh, mark. It is the use of quotation mark. So we have here this sentence. Sheila asked, "Can I help?" So as you can see, this is a sample direct speech because this is stating exactly the words coming from the. I mean, these exactly are the words stated by Sheila or asked by Sheila. And most notably, this is direct speech because it uses quotation mark. Next, we have the second speech, which is indirect speech. As you can see, it has an added syllable, which is in, which means to say, contrastingly, this is the opposite of direct speech. So if we say indirect speech, this is reporting the message of someone in a third person point of view. So this is also called reported speech or indirect quotations. This is the sample sentence. Sheila asked if she could help. If you can check this one, di ba? Compare this or contrast this to the first sentence with the quotation, can I help? This one, the sentence for this speech no longer uses quotation marks. Am I correct? There is no quotation mark at all. And the tense of the sentence was also changed. So now, let us learn the structure, the patterns, and the position of writing direct speech and indirect speech. In order to write direct speech and indirect speech, we need these two essential parts of the sentence, quote and the reporting clause. And these two can be changed vice versa. We can start with the reporting clause followed by the quote or quote followed by the reporting clause. So here is a sample. This sentence is direct speech which starts with the quote. Yes, I agree. So yes, I agree are the words um, exactly said by Bernard. And as you can see, these are placed inside a quotation mark. So therefore, this is direct speech. So the yellow words here represent what someone says or has said. And then I think the blue or the white, not really sure with the color and colorblind. Joke lang. I'm not sure if it's blue or white. The phrase here in color blue or white. is our reporting clause, which contains the reporting verb. So the verb here is said, used as our reporting verb. So now, let us read more examples. Let's go. This is our quote, followed by she whispered. This is our reporting clause. Using whispered as our verb, diba? Used in reporting. Next, June asked, "Are you okay?" So our reporting clause here is June asked, and then our quote is, "Are you okay?" Next, we have here. I will be showing you these most commonly use reporting verbs for direct speech. We have act, admit, advise, agree, announce, and answer. So these are the words that you can um, probably familiarize. These words are really helpful, especially sa mga marites, di ba? So it is too boring to use asked, said, boring kayo when you always use that, especially in academic writing. So you can keep this, or yeah, you can keep a copy of this so you can apply this in your own research paper, di ba? When you cite works of others or when you cite words of authors, you can use this, such as Miles argued that, so on and so forth. You can say, Thomas explained. Di ba? Rather than saying said, sumo kayo, di ba? So you can keep these. So these are some commonly used reporting verbs. Are we clear with this one? Again, these are some commonly used reporting verbs. Now next, let's talk about position of reporting verbs or reporting clause. It can be placed, the reporting clause can be placed before the code. We have here the sentence. Aliyah stared at me and said, "We're in trouble." So here, the reporting clause is placed before the right? Next, the reporting clause can also be placed after the code. So he has to be working, then explained. So yes. Next, here's an example for a reporting clause placed in the middle of the code after a noun phrase. That girl, I said here is our reporting clause. Then followed by the second quote. Kumbaga na sandwich, right? Always shares her blessings with others. And still in the middle of the quote, a reporting clause can still be placed after a clause. So I know you don't remember your dad, said Rika, but he was a loving father. Now let's talk about the real deal. Last meeting we discussed about active and passive voice, right? We had that as our previous lesson. So we have learned, or I provided you some guides on how to convert active voice to passive voice and vice versa. In for direct speech and indirect speech, the two have like almost the same process. We have to look at the tenses. So if you can familiarize or if you can really master verb tenses, it is too easy for you to convert or transform direct speeches to indirect speeches. So let's have a recap on verb tenses. Now this is the pattern, and I hope you can simply get lang the pattern. So for simple tense, simple present tense, we will be using simple past if we will be transforming that into indirect speech. Next, for present progressive, in transforming that into indirect speech, that will become past progressive. Third, for present perfect direct speech, if we are to transform that one into past into indirect speech, that will become past perfect. Now, can you see the pattern? In transforming direct speech to indirect speech, it is just like simply taking a tense forward. So if it is simple present direct speech, if we are to convert that one into indirect speech, simple present will become simple past. Present progressive will become past progressive. Present perfect will become past perfect. Present perfect progressive will become past perfect progressive. Can you see the pattern, class? Again, it's like taking a tense forward. So if it's simple present, that will become past um simple past. If it is present progressive, that will become past progressive. If it's present perfect, that will become past progressive. Can you at least see the pattern? Again, it's like taking a tense forward. So if it's simple present, that will become simple past, and so on and so forth. Now let's continue. If it is simple past, what's next to simple past? We cannot say simple perfect past, right? There's no such tense. So next to simple past is past perfect. Next, if it's past progressive, what's next? If we are to convert that one into indirect speech, that will become past perfect progressive. Now we have here these last two remaining tenses, past perfect and past perfect progressive. If you can notice, in converting these tenses to indirect speech, there are no changes. Um, Past perfect will remain past perfect still. Same with past perfect progressive will still remain past perfect progressive in indirect speech. What's the reason? It is because these are kumbaga how do we call this? Kanang silang pinaka-last. And if we are to convert these last tenses into indirect speech, there's no more tense next to them that we can um, move forward to. So we have to keep them as is. So I think this is still vivo, right, as of this moment. So I will be sharing sample sentences for us to fully understand um, how to properly transform direct speech to indirect speech. So let's begin with the first tense, which is simple tense. Okay, so simple present. She said it is cold outside. Take note, it is. So that is simple present. Now to convert that one into indirect speech, this will become the rule says we just have to simply take a tense forward, right? So simple present will become simple past. So that will become, she said it was cold outside. Are we following, class? Are we following? Hello, everyone. Are you listening? Okay.
Yes.
Now let's continue. The second example here is present progressive. Diba present progressive is used in um, referring to activities, actions, or events that are presently happening. ING continuous verb. So let's have this sentence. She said in a quotation or inside a quotation mark, I am teaching math at CCS. So clearly, this is direct speech. Now, how do we transform this into indirect speech? Um, by rule, di ba? Present progressive will become past progressive. So this will become, she said she was teaching math at CCS. Take note, past progressive, I am teaching, that is a present. So for past progressive, that will become was teaching. Next, present perfect. So what are perfect tenses, Gani? It is the use of has, have, had, right? So this one, present perfect. The sentence here for direct speech is, she said, I have been here since day one. Take note, have. This is present in form, present perfect, right? So the rule says we will have to take the tense forward. So present perfect will become past perfect. So to convert or to transform this one into indirect speech, this one will become, she said she had been here since day one. So we remove the quotation marks, change have into had, since we need this to be in past perfect form. And then, of course, we change the pronouns such as I into she. Next, present perfect progressive. The sentence for direct speech is, she said, I have been writing. So have and then been and then writing, the ing form of the verb. So therefore, this is present perfect progressive. I have been writing this essay for hours. How do we transform this into indirect speech? We will be removing the quotation mark. And then um, the rule says we have to take a tense forward. So if it is present perfect progressive, that will become past perfect progressive. So have will become had, right? She said she had been writing this essay for hours. Are we still following class? Can you see the pattern? If you can master the tenses, you will not really have a hard time transforming direct speech to indirect speech. What's important here, or the basic one here, is um, to know exactly the tense used in each direct speech or each original sentence. Okay, let's still continue. We have simple past. So simple past, the sentence here for direct speech is she said I taught online yesterday. So next to simple past, we will have that, or we will be transforming that one in past perfect form. So that will become she said she had taught online yesterday. Next, we have past progressive. Past progressive is used um, in expressing or in referring to actions, events that took in the past or that took place in the past and that happened for a while. But still, it's done now, right? So here's an example. She said I was listening earlier. Take note was and then listening. So then this is past progressive in form. How do we transform this into indirect speech? The rule says we have to take a tense forward. So past progressive, that will become past perfect progressive. So the sentence will be she said she had been listening earlier. Next, past perfect. So for past perfect direct speech, the sentence is she said the discussion had, take note, past perfect one. So had already started when he arrived. Um, this is the tense I discussed or I mentioned a while ago. Like if these are like the dead ends, like pinaka-last na tense, and there is no more tense left right after this, we don't have to change any because we don't have any tense left, right? So we have to um just simply retain everything. Just remove the quotation mark and of course change the pronouns. So to convert this one into indirect speech, the sentence will be still in past perfect. She said the discussion had already started when he arrived. We cannot say past perfect perfect, di ba? Wala na mainana. That's the last tense na, right? Am I correct? Past perfect. So we have to keep that as it is. Still past perfect in form. Next, still past perfect progressive. The last tense for this one. She said I had already been reading this book for 3 hours. Had been reading. So this is past perfect progressive. Since there is no more tense next to this, so we have to keep this as it is. So there is no change. She said she had already been reading this book for 3 hours. All we just have to do is to remove the quotation marks and then, um, of course, change the pronouns such as I, that will become she, because we have to speak in a third person point of view and reporting indirect speech. Any questions or clarifications regarding the transformation of direct speech to indirect speech and the tenses? Questions or clarifications? I hope you have your screenshots of that pattern I sent. I mean, I flashed a while ago. Okay, don't worry, I will be flashing that again later. Sige. Now let's have modals. So modal verbs are most of the time nakakaligtaan. Kumbaga, most of those people who will be reporting some speech or reporting some statements, they tend to forget in transforming modals. So we have here direct speech, we normally use present forms, right? Such as will, can, must, shall, and may. Now, to transform these into indirect speech, never forget to change these also in their past tense, I mean in their past forms. So will become would, can will become could, must will become had to, shall will become should, and then may will become might. So let's check more examples for modals. Will, she said I will teach English online tomorrow. For indirect speech of that sentence, that will become she said she would teach English online tomorrow. Okay, do not forget to change the modals. Next, can. She said I can teach English online. So transform that one into indirect speech. That will become she said she could teach English online. Next, must. So she said I must have a computer to teach English online. So we cannot say I musted, di ba? We should say had to. So she said she had to have a computer to teach English online. Again, the point here is to never forget in changing your modals in their past forms also. Next, shall. So she said, what shall we learn today? Transform that one into indirect speech. That will become should. So she asked what we should learn today. And then lastly, finally, direct speech for me. She said, may I open a new browser? We'll convert that one into indirect. That will become, she asked if she might open a new browser. So any questions or clarifications, class? Questions or clarifications? Okay, none? Sige. Time check, it's still 4:35 p.m. The deal here is if you can answer the quiz, if you can finish answering the quiz before 5, you can just leave the meeting. Okay? But if you are not yet done with the quiz, you cannot go out from this meeting. Sige. Please wait for the quiz. While waiting for um, the quiz to be published, please review your notes. I will be flashing the guide for the verb tenses here. I hope this does not pass. Again, the earlier you can finish the test, I mean the quiz, the earlier you can leave the meeting. Class, kindly check, kindly refresh your page. I think the quiz is now accessible. You may start answering.